Whether you are completely new without any gacha characters, or even all the way up to a massive whale, there will be a team in this video just for you, so let's get into it. There are 4 main things that Caesar will do for your team. Number 1, she offers buffs to your teammates in the forms of attack buffing, damage buffing. If you're looking for a pseudo support, she will add great value to your roster. Number 2, she offers damage mitigation and knockback resistance, so you can perform your combos at ease, not be afraid of interruption when the enemy smacks you and then you get knocked back or anything to interrupt your damage strings. Third, she scales with impact, so she acts kinda like a stun hybrid even though she's of the defense classification. Great if you're still looking for a second stun unit or perhaps even your first one that you want to build to do a bit more stun on the enemies as well. And last but not least, the 4th point, her design is great, so she will also buff you to play better as well. These 4 factors make Caesar an extremely flexible unit, and this will show in her team compositions that we have in this video. Let's start off first with a more popular one. And by popular, I mean let's start off with something that everyone can appreciate. If you picked up one of these 4 limited S ranks in the first 1.0, 1.1, let's talk about them. Even if you don't, there'll be a team composition here for you in this video. The easiest thing to start things first off talking is Zhu Yuan. Why is that the case? It's one of the best things about Caesar is because her additional ability here, which increases the amount of damage your team does to the enemies. This is very massive because she is very easily proc by not only having same faction, or you just need anyone on the team to be able to proc a defensive assist. There are 2 types of assists in the game. One is defensive assist, which Ellen, Qingyi, Jane, and many other characters do. Zhu Yuan, out of the 4 of them, is the only one that procs evasive assist and doesn't help the additional ability proccing for Caesar. This is very easily settled because you can just slap in a character like Nicole, who works really well with Zhu Yuan. All of them then are able to get their additional ability proc up because Nicole here is a defensive assist, so you don't even need a physical character together with Caesar, and that's what makes her also very versatile in terms of the team compositions that he plays into. This first team is probably my recommendation for Zhu Yuan's. Nicole is free to play, you pick up Caesar, and if you picked up Zhu Yuan already, this is a fabulous team. Next up, of course, we have Ellen, who should actually use this kind of team compositions. I think that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. For Zhu Yuan is anyone who really didn't pull Qingyi. If you didn't get Qingyi, you didn't slap her over here, there is no super top tier alternative in the stun category. So you might as well get a bit of protection, get a bit of buffing, so you have a massive buff for your Zhu Yuan as well. I think Caesar is actually quite strong for Zhu Yuan teams also. Ellen, on the other hand, who should play Caesar here is those that didn't get lucky. You didn't get your Lycan over here. Otherwise, Lycan is still going to be best in slot for the stun / defense category for Ellen. Unfortunately, if you haven't gotten your 300 pulls, you can consider picking up Caesar first, play her with Ellen, and your last slot definitely a character like Sokaku is going to be very strong. You get a lot of damage buffing from Ellen. You don't even have to worry about Caesar's additional ability because Ellen straight away and any of these other 3 characters straight away are defensive assists, so you straight away proc the criteria for your team composition building. You just slap in Sokaku here, both of them proc the additional ability, you're very fine as well. This team composition also scales with time. If you maybe don't have Lycan, you pick him up in your 300 pulls, you can just shift Caesar over to your other teams, whatever limited that you can choose. As you can see, she is pretty dang flexible as a character to build. The one that is not so good is probably a character like Qingyi. Qingyi and Caesar don't play well in the same team because they kind of compete with each other for a little bit of the objectives they do. One of them wants to stun the enemies, fill time. Caesar also wants to stun the enemies and do fill time. So very different styles altogether. And one of the issues with playing with a stun is generally Caesar will want to run Proto Punk, the shield set that we talked about in our other video, which compares the 2 new sets. You can check it out if you're interested. But the more the enemy is stunned, the less uptime you will have for Proto Punk, which is a DPS loss because you don't get that damage uptime unless someone carries Swing Jazz or something. So that's one of the issues. Other than that, there's not too much synergies between both of them. So I won't really elaborate on Qingyi. This is probably the situation where you just want to play each of them in different sides of the team. You have a very well-rounded team composition overall because they are both very flexible characters. You can play with a lot of A rank DPS, which we'll talk about in a bit. The one that is really attractive that I want to expand a little bit more into is Jane Doe team composition. Now, Jane Doe, physical, so you have really nice synergy together with a character, for example, here with Caesar. what is the catch? Let me talk about that in the next section here, which is going to be anomaly-based teams. One of the main benefits or disadvantage of anomaly teams, if you are playing with, for example, a character like this over here, and then you have another anomaly in the other slot, you are generally lacking two things. One, you're lacking stun. Two, you're lacking support, because your crit teams, for example, like your Ellen teams, will have had like a Lycan here, you will have a Sokaku here. So, but then because you're running like a double DPS kind of team for your anomaly-based teams, the last slot actually wants to have someone that does everything or as much as possible so that you are able to bring in like a double DPS teams. And the only characters that currently do that in the game, in terms of supporting anomaly teams, are Caesar and Seth. So the difference between both of them, of course, you could argue non-stop about who is better and whatnot. This is not the focus of this video. But for those of you who don't have like a M6 very well invested full mindscape Seth, Caesar is actually a very, very solid alternative in this category, and might even be better because she not only provides you damage buffs, she provides you attack buffs, she provides you a lot of protection and scales with impact, which Seth does not. Seth does increase anomaly proficiency, but attack and damage buffing helps even your base instances as you're building up for that massive payoff at the end. It benefits everything, also all your small instances of damage, which is why I think Caesar is slightly outperforming. But I'll leave it up to you to make a decision, especially if you already have an M6 Seth. They are likely quite competitive too, because you can save some resources. So, anomaly teams. Who do I think is like one of the strongest ones in this team competition? Probably if you are a massive whale, and we mentioned that in the video if we talked about it. If you are pulling 3 characters back to back, you have no qualms on your wallet. These 3 are probably going to be one of the best teams for Caesar, in my opinion. They just synergize very well with each other. They all can interrupt their combo strings very quickly. I think this is super strong. Jane Doe does defensive assist, so it doesn't even matter what Bernice does. Bernice have some sort of off-field damage application. Jane Doe is very, very fast on field. Does take a little bit more field time, can get hit if you don't have like godly fast hands sometimes. Caesar provides you a lot of protection, interrupt resistance to allow you to switch to your characters freely as well. I think this is a really strong team. You get a lot of support buffing and impact from here, and you get a lot of damage from these 2 other. If you are not a massive whale, there are alternatives. You can swap in, for example, Grace in this last slot, which is going to take on like your role of a sub DPS, just come on the field, nuke kind of thing. And alternatively, of course, you can slap in like a Lucy here if you're looking to play like Anomaly, but you didn't maybe pick up, for example, a character like Jane Doe. And really, if you are playing a pool like Bernice in the second half, you can just move them around. Like you can play like Grace here, Bernice. They are quite flexible to like play depending on what your combination is. In my opinion, I think anomaly teams work really well with Caesar, and probably my top recommendation of where she stands out in the meta versus the rest of them, just because of simply the jack of all trades requirement that she meets is what anomaly teams need because of the double DPS standards too. But that's not all. She still does have faction-based teams, which will be a bit more unique because this plays into the other standard characters, if any of you who are playing them as well. One of the things that you have is we currently have like 3 faction teams, the Sons of Caldron here, which is your Lucy, Bernice, as well as Piper. We talked a bit about a Bernice as well as Piper earlier in the anomaly teams, but now I want to bring our attention really more to focus on a character like Lucy, which is a very solid character. I think she's also free to play. Let me know in the comments below if my memory fails me. I do believe she's given away also in this like event. Super strong character, takes up super low field time. You could of course play with a Lucy, Piper, as well as a Caesar team if you are just wanting to run with A rank units. Piper is quite strong, especially in the early game. This team, like a Lucy as well as a character like Caesar, the character that it opens up really is Soldier 11. One of the things about Soldier 11 is she does want to take up good on-field time, especially if you are able to have her timings right to proc continuously a fire application. With that shielding and the damage buff that you get pretty much like a hyper carry kind of style for your Soldier 11. At the same time, Soldier 11 does a decent amount of stun application. She's not like super bad at stun compared to like other characters, maybe like your range characters like Billy who doesn't offer too much stun application. Soldier 11 is actually quite okay. Caesar is also great for stun because she has impact scaling, which means that you naturally build her for a lot of impact to scale her shield anyway, so each hit that she does definitely does a lot more impact than otherwise a character that does not scale with stun, like a character like Seth. So this team, very good. You proc all of their additional abilities. You have Sons of Caledron here, you have fire teams for both of them, and you have Caesar over here. And of course, the other DPSs that you can consider if you are planning to play them, I think Nekomata works really well too. You have a double physical, but I don't think that people are playing with Nekomata. Let me know if you are still like playing Nekomata now. So I'm going to just make this like super quick. If you are playing with Nekomata, I think a team of like this is also pretty strong. You tap on the double faction synergy over here because currently physical doesn't have any like support specific buffer. Caesar is probably the best alternative for a support specific buffer, and we will talk about the other characters. You notice that I'm missing some of DPS out. We'll talk about that in this last section here, which is really for new player teams. And I want and no pool like gacha accounts also. And if you're finding value in this video so far, do give us a like, comment, and subscribe, and share with any of your friends who are also planning to build teams for Caesar. We'll be very happy to discuss with you guys too. And in this last section, I want to talk about a total new player team, and I think Lucy is free, so I'll just like include her here. But otherwise, Nicole also offers a lot of value. The last slot here, I would say, is your other A-rank DPSs. For example, Billy is quite good. Corinne, I believe that she's free as well. This is a physical, so they proc each other. There's defensive assist as well. You can either choose Nicole if you wanted to. She doesn't get her additional ability, but it's fine because it's just 8 damage bonus over here. So 1, 2, you can just choose whoever you want in the second slot. You can go with either of the physical DPSs like Billy or, for example, like Corinne as well. They are both strong. If any of you have like gacha A-rank DPSs, for example, a character like Anton, Anton is also pretty decent. There is no specific support for Shock other than Rina, but she's a S rank, so Caesar is of course really strong if you're playing with like Anton teams in your second slot. Maybe you have like Grace or something like that. Then these are like options for your A rank DPSs. Other than that, probably a team like this will be pretty good. Lucy together with Piper in the last slot, and these will be my recommendations for you. If you found this video helpful, do like, comment, and subscribe for more of such future content. Check out these 2 other videos over here that is relating to Caesar that I think you will find very interesting as well, and see you in the next video.